Always a side conversation.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine. That's Jermaine. We are Yokes. We are teaching couples that godly marriages start before the ring, and they even continue on after
Yes.
the I do's.
Yes.
Yes.
After I do, you did.
So November is Family Stories Month, and we are sharing our story. We're just a family of two, but we have a lot of history and a lot of insight, and I would like to think a lot of wisdom about marriage and ways that you can kind of make your marriage better, and even before you get married, work on making your marriage better. So we talked about meeting online. Yesterday we talked about the pros and cons of online dating, and today we're going to talk about our first date, how that went, and the stories that we've learned from that. So if you've missed the conversation, we met online, and we talked online for about 6 weeks before I sent him a message that said, "So are you going to ask me for my number or what?" And that's kind of how we ended up on our first date. So our first date, I wanted to go to Olive Garden.
Yeah, I think I asked you like what your favorite kind of food was. You said Italian. And then I said, well, maybe we can meet at Olive Garden.
Yes, because I'm all about the Italian food. And Olive Garden, yeah. Endless breadsticks, endless salad. How can you possibly go wrong?
Yep. So the plan was Saturday night, meet at Olive Garden. And so Saturday night came, we met at Olive Garden, and there was a line out of the door.
Yeah, there were a lot of people at Olive Garden. And as much as I enjoy Italian food, I was not willing to wait because I was more hungry than I was patient. So, that
Hungry
was,
for food.
yes.
Okay. So
That's what I'm, yeah.
And so at that point, we talked a little bit, and then after we got over the awkwardness of seeing each other in real life for the first time.
Do you still remember what I was wearing?
It was, I know your hair was short.
Yeah.
I think you were wearing black pants.
I probably was because they made me look skinny.
Yes. I want to say they were leather-ish.
I don't think they were leather. I've never actually owned leather pants.
Okay, maybe they was just really shiny.
That is totally possible. That's actually possible that they were shiny pants.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was wearing though.
I don't either.
Okay, well. So, we stood outside and talked for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we decided to go to McAllister's.
Yes. So our first date, after talking for 6 weeks and him finally being comfortable enough to say, okay, I can, let you see me in person in real life. All of the hype and excitement of this fancy Olive Garden dinner, we ended up at McAllister's. That's where our first date was.
Yep.
So we walked across the parking lot and went to McAllister's, got in line and ordered, and this is where it gets exciting.
Not that exciting, but yeah, I guess exciting. So I go to grab my wallet to pay because I'm a gentleman and I'm trying to do the right thing. So I reach in my pocket and realize I don't have my wallet.
Yeah. So, first date, McAllister's. My date has no money.
Not that I don't have money. The money was in the car. I left my wallet in the car.
Which side note, he told me he did that all the time, and I'm like, you're crazy. Why would you? This is Memphis. Why would you leave your wallet in the car?
There's a very good reason.
He did have a very good reason
for doing that.
Yeah.
So, I left my wallet in the car. And I said, oops, let me go and get it. She said, no, I'll pay.
Yes. So there was a line of people behind us. And I think they kind of knew we were on our first date. Like we had that kind of like awkward vibe of they just met each other, first date sort of thing.
Maybe.
Because he was kind of patting himself down and was just kind of like, oh, I left my wallet. He's like, let me run out to the car. I mostly didn't want to inconvenience anybody. So I was like, you know what? I'll just pay for it and you can pay the next time. And he was like, are you sure? Yeah, that's fine. I'll pay this time. You can pay next time. Ladies, got me a second date.
Well, I guess that's good. You wanted a second date and we hadn't even actually spent that much time together.
Oh, yeah. I fell in love with you the first time we talked. Like, I wanted to marry you then.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I was definitely trying to get another date.
Okay.
So,
I get it.
It helped that you weren't, like, crazy. So, after I made plans for a second date, I actually wanted to keep them. So, that always helps.
Cool.
So, I ended up paying for dinner on our first date. And we sat and talked. And I don't even know what we did for our second date.
I think we went to India.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a video. That's probably a video for another live. So let's just. She's remembering what happened.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's for another time.
That's another time.
Let's stick to this one.
Yes. So, our first date, we went to McAllister's and we sat there for probably 2.5 hours talking.
Yeah, we talked for a long time.
And I mean, it was an amazing date. We had conversations before, and we really spent a lot of time, just kind of letting our guard down, getting to know each other, having candid conversation, and, really being open and honest with each other. And we were kind of talking about before, that was when you said, you told me that you were separated, and I was just like, well, that sucks for me.
Yeah.
So as I'm, sitting here, we're talking about second date. We weren't actually dating. We were just hanging out and talking, nothing inappropriate, just, hanging out and being friends. We didn't just, jump into a relationship.
Right.
It was still, you're cool, I'm cool, we're hanging out and getting to know each other. So it was, a really good experience. The second hangout was at the Indian restaurant. Oh my gosh, that was absolutely terrible. And I feel like I should tell people what happened.
We can tell them another time.
Okay, we'll tell you another time. So you have to come back and watch, because we'll tell you another time what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so bad. So I guess the point of that is, if you're looking to get to know someone, I've seen a lot of things, and oh my gosh, that video the other day, some lady was ranting about, I think Kev on stage that reviewed that?
Yeah.
She was ranting about the guy that took her out using a credit card, and she was so mad because he used a credit card to pay for their date. And I mean, I guess he took her out to a pretty nice restaurant. I don't know. But she was mad because he was not using cash. He was using a credit card to pay for the date, which was just outrageous to me. I'm like, if you're going to pay for the date, I mean, I'm the kind of person you can say, like we would go out and be like, okay, well, I have a coupon. Okay, let's go eat. That means we're both saving money. Like, I'm totally fine with that. But, kind of putting quantity over quality and spending over substance. So I guess I can, ask you to put your professional hat back on and say, from a counseling standpoint, like, what kind of situations and relationships do people find themselves in when they're spending time with someone for quantity instead of quality? Like, if they're more focused about the money and things that they have.
Yeah, what people don't.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
Hey, Danielle.
Hello. What people don't realize is that, quantity runs out. eventually, and what you're left with is substance. So if you're falling for quantity, meaning money, material possessions, what this person might have, just know anything on the external is perishable. So it's going to go away, it's going to run out, it's going to change. What you want to look for is things on the inside, so substance, character, their integrity, their trustworthiness. Those are things that are on the inside, and those are the things that you should be looking for, especially in the beginning.
Right. And I think, just listening to you say that, I'm just kind of like, if you were looking at me for my quantity and like the things that I might have, you would have left a long time ago, because I've gotten old and fat and slow. I have.
Well,
I have.
That can be applied to both of us.
But I mean, still, even, right after we got married, like, I immediately got sick. And if our marriage and our relationship was based on looks and health and, what I could do for you, whatever you had for me would have diminished 7 years ago. Because, people who don't know, I have chronic asthma. I'm usually pretty sick. And he's been taking care of me pretty much our entire marriage.
Except for that one time I got sick.
Once in 7 years. But I mean, we got married in November of 2011. I got sick in January of 2012, and I've pretty much been sick ever since.
Kind of.
Yeah, so, at least several times a year. So, all of that kind of tying back to what, how much money you spend on a date. Hey, T, how much money you spend on a date. And, from a woman's perspective, I would ask you to consider, if you're with someone and you're looking at how much money they have, how much they're going to spend on you, what can they do for you, more than you're looking at who they are as a person and what are their core values. I'd want you to consider what it is about you that makes you, value those things. Because just as, a woman is going to get older and slower and heavier, whatever the case may be, the same thing is going to happen to a man. And if you're not getting to know that person and learning to love them and appreciate them for who they are on the inside and who they are genuinely as a person, what are you going to be left with when the things that you were pursuing have run out?
Well said. Go ahead.
Well, you just looked like you were thinking about something, so I was trying to.
Thinking about something.
You're always. What are you thinking? Tell us all what you're thinking.
I don't know. You said it's just fine.
Y'all, this is every day. But yeah, it's just, and I think a lot of that goes back to, just what are your values? What is it that who are you, and what is it that you're looking for? Mm-hmm. It's very easy for me because I've never been a materialistic person, I don't think. Going on a date to McDonald's or using coupons doesn't faze me. And it could be because I'm cheap and I'm okay, with somebody, saving money on a situation. But are you going to value how much a person spends versus who they are and what they want to contribute to the growth of the relationship, what they want to contribute to your growth? Because that's another thing when you're dating and looking to, be serious or even marry a person. How are they encouraging you to grow? And how are they encouraging you to be a better person and to contribute more to the world? I'm trying to get my train of thought back. So, going on simple dates, creative dates, you have more time to sit around or, to kind of sit and talk together and really talk about the things that mean a lot to you, versus if you go to, a fancy $4 sign restaurant. I don't even know if they do stars anymore because everybody, like, we use Yelp
Oh.
And they have the dollar signs and not the stars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they still have stars.
But if you're going to like a 4 or 5 star restaurant or a $4 or $5 sign restaurant, you're way more concerned with putting on, you know, your best persona, your best attitude, your, you know, what am I trying to say? Like you're putting on, you're not allowed to be yourself.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to keep up a standard, and you're not allowed to be who you really are. I think I'm gonna tell them about the Indian restaurant because it's important to the story. Okay, so our second hangout, he doesn't want me to tell you about this. Our second hangout, we went to an Indian restaurant and we sat down and we were talking, and just like out of nowhere, he let out this ginormous belch right in my face.
That was you.
Okay, it was totally me. I accidentally burped in his face, and it was like the loudest burp. Like people turned around, and I didn't even feel it coming. It just happened, and I was mortified, absolutely mortified. But that, among other situations that we've had, it let him, you know, really see me. Not that I'm like a gross, belchy, you know, just always like just rank person, but the fact that it's like, okay, I'm a woman, I burp, it's natural, it's gonna happen, and he was not freaked out by it, and he didn't run away from it, let me know that I could be.
I couldn't run.
That's true. You had torn your Achilles.
Yeah,
so he couldn't run even if he wanted to. He had to stay there and take it.
She drove, so you know.
But it gave me the confidence to be comfortable in our friendship, because I knew that he would accept me for who I was. And that's something that I think if we had been in like a $4 sign restaurant and I burped like that, you may or may not have called me again. I have no idea.
I probably would have. They might have put us out though.
They might have put us out. That's actually, yeah, they might have put us out. But when you're considering dating someone, you know, I just want to encourage you to look for quality over quantity, because like he said, eventually quantity is going to run out. Eventually, hey Sonia, eventually your looks are going to fade, your health is going to fade, and you need to be with someone who is going to love you at your core. They're going to love you for who you truly are, and accept you for who you truly are. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times simple dates are the easiest way to do that. I wrote a post a while back, and I was talking about 5 date night activities in Memphis that help you get to know your partner. And I'll remember to add the link to that after we finish. But one of the things that I suggested was going to an escape room, because going on an outing to an escape room, it really tests a person's patience. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting to know someone, it's a way to kind of see how they perform under pressure, which will say a lot about how they will treat you when times get rough. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when things get really hard, how do they perform when they, you know, have something to lose?
Oh, it also gives you a look into their competitive spirit. Mm-hmm. And if they're overly competitive, it'll come out in an escape room.
Definitely.
So, and if they just don't care, that'll come out too.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I suggested was going to Bridges downtown. If you've never been to Bridges, they have like these ultimate rope courses, and Bridges is a place where they do a lot of team building activities. So you have to work together to accomplish different goals, and they have like the super high, like rope walk. Mm-hmm. And we went up there, and I was just like, oh, I'm not afraid of heights. And I got up there and I was like, oh my gosh, I've made a mistake. Why? But one thing I learned by doing the ropes course, he never left my side. He always made sure that I was okay. And he helped me get through the challenges of being up there. He didn't run off and leave me, which said a lot about how he would stick by my side, you know, when I was afraid, when times, you know, got rough. And that spirit, even just at the ropes course, has held true in our marriage, because we've gone through me having 2 surgeries, me being in the hospital and emergency rooms, dealing with our, you know, infertility and the fear of, you know, that whole process, you having to go in emergency surgery, and knowing even from the beginning that when things got scary, we were always going to be there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily consider when you do something like a ropes course. Mm-hmm. You know, how are they going to act? And again, the competitive spirit, are they going to leave you behind because it's, you know, everybody for themselves, or are they going to stick by you and walk with you and make sure that you're okay? That says a lot about a person that you're considering being in a relationship with.
Yep, it does.
I'm trying to think, what are the other, I can't remember the other activities. But yeah, things that, probably like putt-putt golf, or I don't know, something like that. But anything where you can kind of observe the other person and see how they react to stress. Even going out to eat, how they treat the waiters, and how they treat people who are beneath them. That says a lot about how they'll treat you too.
Yep.
So, you know, going out on simple dates, interacting with each other, just kind of walking around the park, walking down on the river, whatever it is, you can use every opportunity and pick up on small clues to learn about them, to really see if you want to invest your time in this person. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, fancy or fairy tale. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you're dating and dating intentionally, making sure that you take the time to get to know a person and actually watch for, you know, little clues and red flags that might come up. So, yeah. Nothing? No? Okay.
We're good.
Hey, Kim. So yeah, I think that's all, because we did it again. Sorry. I try not to stay on too long when we get to talking. My bad. So you'll set a timer tomorrow. Okay. So that's kind of all we wanted to talk about, you know, telling another part of our story, and, you know, hoping that it can help you in some sort of way in your dating life, even in your marriage, to, you know, continue to grow and continue to get to know each other. So tomorrow, join us again at 6 p.m. That time works for you?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Are we doing something?
I have something tomorrow.
Okay.
But I think we'll be back on at 6 p.m. Maybe a little earlier, a little later. We will definitely let you know. But thanks for watching. We love y'all. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.